Thank you for tuning in to my edition called Lead Limitlessly. And I welcome you as I discuss in this 3-part online training series on how to live and to lead a limitless life. Let me ask you a question. You know, it's been said that powerful people ask powerful questions. So let me ask you out there. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt limited? Have you ever been in a position where you have goals and desires and dreams that you want to fulfill, and yet perhaps fear, people, even yourself, has stood in your way to going after your goals? Now, if you had said yes to any or all of these questions, then guess what? You are in the right place. Let me ask you, what if I were to show you step by step on how to take these limits off and to be able to take massive action to go after your dreams? If I was able to show you step by step how easy it is to live and to lead a limitless life so you can go after your dreams and live the lifestyle that you desire and deserve, would you take me up on my offer? Well, guess what? I want to say that you're in the right place, and because of the fact that you showed up and you're taking action right now, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Lead Limitlessly as I talk about the key secrets on how to live and to lead a limitless life. My name is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, award-winning speaker, author, coach of Leader International, where I help people in leadership positions, especially women, women after my own heart, who are feeling stuck and feeling limited because they lack the clarity or the confidence that they need to be in position where I come in and help them to take the limits off, to go after their next level of greatness, or simply to go after their next. Let me ask you another question, powerful person. What is your next? Do you even know why you even exist? See, there's something going on. If you were to say, you know what, Doc? Yeah, I'm very limited. I know that there's so much more to explore out there. I know that there's more for me to do. I know that there's a reason to my existence, but I just don't know how to get there. Why am I even talking about this? Well, I was just like you. Yes, I have the degrees. I'm a doctor in human behavior. I had my leading practice as a licensed professional counselor for 10 years, in the mental health field for nearly 20 years. And yet and still, I was stuck. I was limited. So it got to a point where I decided to do this online training series because I don't think that I was the only one who ever felt limited. So here's the objective. I want to talk about what leads up, because everything starts from the beginning. So we have to trace back to find out what had you to become limited in the first place. And then from there, we can discuss about the key secrets to leading and living a limitless life, but then also needing to talk about, well, how do you apply it? Because it's one thing to have the knowledge and the understanding, but it's another to implement and execute what you learn. Yes or yes? So if you're with me, I thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to serving you. Now let me tell you who this is not for. So listen, this is not about a get-rich scheme, or it's not about how to quit your job in one day and then in 10 minutes later you make $1 million. This is not that type of training. Now, if you thought that it was, I was going to help you to learn how to take the limits off of yourself and then be able to go ahead and make $1 million at a blink of an eye, then I might as well tell you right now, please tune off. Respectfully. But if you are looking to explore what is out there waiting for you, I always tell my clients that there are people who are waiting in line for you and willing to pay you top dollar for your message and your story, because your story matters, your message matters. Yes or yes? And they're just in line waiting for you to take the limits off, to tap into your limitless potential, and to discover your next. Now, if you're ready to take those limits off and to discover the key secrets to living and leading a limitless life, then get ready, because we're about to begin right now. So, let's talk about it. What is limitless? This first training is all about understanding how do we become limited in the first place. So I looked up limitless, and limitless just means without end, without bounds, without limit. So some words that are synonymous with limitless is boundless. What's some other words? As far as with just taking limits off, freedom, infinity. These are some of the words. I don't know if that resonates for you. I know it does for me. Because remember, I shared earlier that I was once limited. I felt so stuck at a 9 to 5. I felt so stuck and limited on my capabilities that I didn't feel or believe that people were really embracing what I had to offer. Let's talk about that though. Does that resonate for you? Does that hit a nerve or strike a chord? Being around people where, hey, you have to play small to make them feel good? Yeah, I was there too. To the point that my opinion about myself, I shrunk. I love this woman. Her name is Marianne Williamson. And she talks about this in one of her books. And she talks about how we play small. But our playing small doesn't serve anyone. But if we can, and I'm paraphrasing, if we're able to now just own our power and stand in our truth and who we are, then we give the permission for others to do the same thing. So I dare ask you the question, what makes you limited? Let's talk about, first and foremost, one key factor that keeps us limited is our thinking. I want you to journey with me. If you can just close your eyes and imagine your 5 senses. What does it feel like to be limited? What does it look like to be limited? What does it taste like to be limited? What does it sound like to be limited? What does it feel? What does it taste? What does it smell? What does it smell like to be limited? What does it look like? What does it sound like? I just want you to think about that. What is that like to be limited? You know, I feel like after sharing that, I can feel your energy just waning. Like it's like a heavy weight or a burden to be limited. And as a result, being limited, what happens? How does that impact your day to day? How does that impact your working or your business or taking care of your loved ones, hanging out with your children or being with your loved one? Or what is it like for you? So let me ask you this other question, power person. If you don't like it, if it doesn't feel good, then what do you do about it? I can hear you now. You're like, well, that's why I'm here, Dr. Sarah. I want to know how in the world do I take the limits off? How do I live and lead a limitless life? Well, again, we first have to know where does it come from. So then we could have a plan of action to know how to take the limits off. So first and foremost, it does start with our thinking. And when I say about our thinking, there's a saying. It says in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he. So the way that you think determines how you behave. So if you think less of yourself, if you lack confidence in yourself, if you lack clarity, if you lack courage, if you lack commitment, if you lack that devotion to yourself and to your goals and your dreams, then it does show up pretty much in every area of your life. So I want you to check yourself for a second. Think about it. Look at every area of your life. Where else are you limited? You may think that you're limited in one area, but if you were to look across the board, perhaps limits or being limited are showing up in those very various places. So, as we're thinking about what in the world to do about this, we go into another factor that keeps us limited. You know, I remember talking to a client of mine, and how she came to me talking about how she had this aspiration to become a coach. She wanted to work with women and help them to, again, tap into their limitless potential, but to know how to have some lasting and rewarding relationships. And she wanted to just be a relationship coach to them. Her concern was, because she wasn't married or she wasn't in a relationship at the time, a lot of people were asking her, well, why in the world do you want to do that when you're not in a relationship or you haven't been married? How can you tell me or tell other people how they should be in their relationships? She started to shrink. Her passion, her zeal, her desire to help and to serve in that capacity became small because of the opinions of others. Who has spoken into your ear to say something against your very desires and dreams that you have? Perhaps that also plays part that keeps you limited. Another way that we tend to be limited is, it goes with what I just shared earlier, playing small, to make other people feel better about themselves, to make other people feel great. It's a doggone shame, I must say, at the fact that there are so many people who we say hating on you because they see something greater in you. And that's the point of this online training about living and leading a limitless life. Because everyone else can see your greatness and your value, except for you. Until now. So far we talked about what has us to be limited. We talked about how our thinking asks you to do a check within yourself and see how it feels, how it tastes, how it smells, how it sounds. I always missed one. I mean, I've already said this, how it feels. But yes, to touch with yourself, get into touch with your five senses and see where are the limitations showing up in your life. As well as your thinking. Because the way that you think determines how you behave. So how it's showing up in one area may be showing across the board in other areas as well. And you just didn't even realize until now. Also, the opinions of others that results into you playing small to make them feel better about themselves. One more point that keeps us limited. We don't know what we don't know. Oftentimes, because we are not clear of which way to go with our dreams, we don't have someone to show us the ropes or to show us the way. We don't have a mentor in our lives, or our mama or our daddy's not around. Whatever the case is, we tend to use those excuses. And while they may be justifiable, while you may be well in your right for the reason why you are where you are today, guess what? You're exactly where you want to be. I know that was a hard pill to swallow, but it is the truth. And the truth shall make you free. Yes or yes. When we get to a place where we can stop using the excuses, and they could be the truth. It could be reasons behind why you're where you are today. But nevertheless, the less that you actually stop with these excuses and blaming and justification and explaining yourself as to why and where you are, and shift your energy, your vibrations, your thoughts, all into how do you bring solution to where you are? How do you now resolve this whole thing of being limited? When you start to shift your mindset into that, it makes a world of difference in being able to tap into your limitless potential. Take off the limits and discover your next. Yes or yes? So let me just ask you. At the end of the day, being limited, what is it like for you? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What are your desires? What do you want to do in this life? Do you even know your purpose? Do you even know how it shows up when you are limited? Do you even know the steps to being able to live and to lead a limitless life? Now again, you may be saying, okay, Dr. Sarah, that's why I showed up. I want to know how, because I'm tired of carrying the burden of being so limited and I can't go after my dreams like everyone else. You may be saying that, you know what, Doc, I have these dreams and desires and I see other people doing the same thing that I desire to do and they're not doing a great job, but yet they're going after their dreams and I'm still on the sidelines. What have you so gripped in fear? Is it the fact that you want to make sure that that it's perfect before you go out there and launch so that you don't fall flat on your face and fail? I said the 4-letter word, didn't I? Fail. Did you know that failure plays part with your success? I always told my clients that, you know what? There is no such thing as weaknesses. They're merely uncultivated strengths waiting for the opportunity to become a strength. Did you catch that? There are no such things as weaknesses. They're just untapped strengths ready for the opportunity to become a strength. You need to put yourself in a situation where now you challenge yourself. Eleanor Roosevelt has said, and I'm paraphrasing, you need to look fear square in the face and do the very thing you think you cannot do. When you do something that I call, and it's called reframe. Please say reframe. I know I can't hear you, but say it so it can resonate within your spirit. Reframe. Reframe just means looking at it differently. When you shift your mindset from the negative to the positive, from despair to hope, from all is lost to promise, when you shift over and start to put everything in, all in, to living and leading a limitless life, you actually will do just that. So if you are ready to take the limits off, if you're ready to tap limitless potential and to discover your next, you have at least part of the battles already won, because you know what have you to be limited. Here's my homework assignment to you. And I want you to make sure that you show up again for our second part of this series, our online training series, about what are the keys to living and leading a limitless life. Your homework assignment is to now take notes. Journaling is always fun. A lot of times people say, well, I tried that journaling thing and I don't stay with it. Look, it's about being strategic and setting the intention with it. So I want you to journal all that you learned today about you being limited. You may have way more examples than I have given you in regards to what keeps you limited. I want you to have no holds barred, free associate, which just means I want you to write until all the ideas come out of your head and put it on paper, so that now you become more cognizant and aware of what has been keeping you limited, to the point that once you flesh it out, it puts you in position to become limitless. So I want you to be ahead of the game. And because you took massive action by just showing up, did you know that 80% of success is just showing up? So kudos to you. And as a thank you for taking massive action, I have provided a PDF that talks about the key secrets to living and leading a limitless life. So it is yours, complimentary, and just make sure that you download it on the link below so that you can have that and follow along as we talk about the next part, which is, all right, we talked about what was it like to be limited. Now we travel into what are the key secrets to living and leading a limitless life. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley. I look forward to talking with you again in the future. Thank you.